Okay, hi everyone for real now. I thought that I was live and I was talking for about a minute before I realized it actually was not yet, so that's uncomfortable. But I don't know if anyone's here just yet. Um, but hi, if you are, and I'm excited to chat today. I saw Michelle Cases and Conversations was in the chat earlier, but I wanted to go live again. This is the second time I'm going live by myself. I've done a few other lives on other people's channels. Everyone's been super nice letting me come on and share my thoughts, and we've had a lot of new information. But I still think that in this community, we all know all the information, and I'm including myself because now I feel a part of it. But everyone knows a lot of the information. Everyone knows really what's going on. People know the facts, people know the small details, but there's still a lot of people who are new who don't. And that's why I kind of wanted to, go back to the start again to chat about what I'm seeing and talk about the ransom notes, talk about the new information coming out, because I think it's important that people have a foundational knowledge. Oh, hi, Designs Laura. Thank you for being here. You're always so loyal. um, I really appreciate it. But I was just saying, I definitely think it's important that everyone kind of have this foundational knowledge. And I kind of think it's interesting too, to do it more like a podcast style where I'm projecting the screen and then people can chat and send in questions or comments. Um, and last time it was really good. And I also was learning just from the chat, which is awesome. So if I say something wrong, if I get something wrong, if someone wants to hear something, please tell me. I made another chart. I did one and it was huge. So I ended up just taking screenshots. So we'll be looking at the screenshots. But I'll present those just in a few moments. But again, I just wanted to go over. So I wanted to briefly talk again about the timeline. Just I think it's always good to have a refresher on that. And then talk about the ransom notes, especially with the new information from Brianna, who's on Crime Junkie. And she's formerly a newscaster in Phoenix. So she had a lot of information. And her video was really, really good over on Crime Junkie if anyone wants to watch that. And it gave us a little bit more information that we didn't have about the ransom notes. We didn't have specifics, and we still don't have the full thing, but I thought it'd be good to go over that. And then I'll share my thoughts. And of course, if you have any thoughts, please get in the chat. I have my chicken scratch notes off here to the side in case you see me looking down. But yeah, I guess that we can get started. So let me share. Again, I am new to the sharing screen. I've never shared a video yet, and I don't think I'm ready. So we're not going to do any videos today. But here is, I'm adding it now. Okay. And then I'll put myself again in the corner. Because it just says missing since February 1st, 2026 in Tucson. So there's Nancy. Again, I do want to do a live. Tom C and I were chatting soon about doing a live, just remembering Nancy, remembering who she is, and kind of trying to remember her legacy because she was so much more than this newscaster's daughter or this newscaster's mother who was taken. So just to start, I'm going to go over the timeline quick as we've already done it once before. But January 31st of 2026, Nancy Guthrie, who we know she's the daughter of newscaster Savannah. She has two other children and she lives in Tucson, Arizona. She lives by herself in the Catalina foothills in a beautiful home surrounded by nature. And at 5:32 p.m., she took an Uber to visit her daughter, Annie. This is still something interesting because Nancy was known to have mobility issues. And I do find it interesting that her daughter and the son-in-law, Tommaso, would think it was a good idea for her to get into an Uber. But again, I don't know. We didn't know Nancy personally, so maybe she was fine to get in to an Uber alone. At 9:48, she had spent a few hours over at Annie and Tommaso's house. They allegedly played games, they had dinner, and then Tommaso drove her home and the garage door opened. She has a smart garage. It opens at 9:48. Hi, Summery Wednesday. Thank you for being here. I love seeing you in the chat. Hi, Angel Eyes. My mod is here. I hope you had a good birthday the other night, Angel Eyes. And I keep running into you in chats. But so then at 9:50, the garage door closes and Tommaso drives away. This is again interesting because it took Nancy, who was known to have mobility issues, 2 minutes to get into the home. And the more that we've talked about it, another thing that stands out is how, after an entire day and socializing and things, you would think that Nancy's body might be more tired. So the fact that she did move so fast through the garage is a little bit weird. That also raises the question of, did Nancy ever come home? We still don't know. There's evidence pointing to the fact, but there's also a big group of people who think Nancy never even came home, which is really scary. If she didn't, we don't know where, she might be. We don't know if where she might have gone, but I mean, it's a question. So in the chat, if anyone wants to say their theory, did she come home or did she not? I personally do think she came home, and I hope that she went to bed being at home, being somewhere she was comfortable. February 1st, so this is in the early morning, so a few hours after Nancy was home, the doorbell camera disconnects. At this point, is odd because at 2:12, there was a person tampering with the security equipment. We didn't know this until long after, but as we all know, it's porch guy, porch girl, porch person. There was someone on this porch messing with the doorbell camera, the Nest footage. And later on, it was released by the FBI. They went into the Google, basically their drive, I guess you could say, like this cache of data, and they were able to take the footage and they released it to the public. So we do know, regardless of who was in the house, what was going on, there was at least one person who was there tampering with the doorbell camera. Hi, Allison. How you doing? At 2:12 a.m., so I just said that actually. So we all know the person was up there, porch guy. At 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker disconnects from her phone app. So this means that she was out of range of the device. Again, her pacemaker would have kept going. It doesn't mean that her pacemaker stopped working. It just means that it disconnected from her phone. Her pacemaker is designed that it will work constantly. And we've had a lot of interesting chats about how they can hopefully take some data off of the pacemaker app and make it so that they can see her heart rate and the data that it was collecting up until the time of it, of what happened, whatever that may be. At 11 o'clock a.m., Nancy fails to show up to a friend's virtual church service, and they alert the family. This is kind of one of those weird things where she would go every Sunday to her friend's house for Sunday service. They would watch a service in New York that Savannah would attend. And she would go every Sunday religiously. They at first thought she was going to a physical church, but she would go to her friend's house. She would often Uber there. Hi, Michelle. Hi, everyone in the chat. Designs Laura says, geofencing shows Nancy made it home. Her phone, Apple Watch, and implant all stayed connected. Yep. So that's a good reason why I think she made it home. Summary Wednesday agrees. Allison says, breaking, testing of hair samples collected from Nancy's home did not identify or lead to a suspect. Sheriff Nanos told ABC News. Wow, that's interesting. So that's breaking news. So just for context, recently also Nanos did come out and say we have so much evidence, which who knows what that means. My big question is, how have you taken this long to be analyzing the evidence after all this time? But that's crazy. I guess that must have just came out. I wonder if he did a video. Hi, Beth. But that's interesting. They did collect a lot of evidence from the scene, but as they say, if they don't have someone in their database, even if they have that DNA, they might not know for a really long time who the DNA connects to. So that's a little bit concerning, especially if whatever hair samples were collected didn't lead back to the family, as a lot of people think, or anything like that. But Allison, put in the chat if anything else, or if anyone else has any other details on what was said. That's definitely interesting, but also kind of disappointing that it didn't point to anywhere. But I mean, 6 months later, at least we have an answer on that, I guess. So again, 11 a.m. on February 1st, Nancy doesn't show up to the church service at her friend's house, and they contact the police because when Annie and Tommaso go over, they don't see her. It doesn't seem as though she wandered off. It's a concerning scene. At 12:03, that's when they call the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and by 12:15, the officers arrive and described the scene as concerning. There was a small trail of blood on the porch. As we all know now, there were flower pots that were used to prop open the back entrance doors. The doorbell camera was removed. A porch light was broken. Actually, it was a floodlight in the back of the house. And then the Apple Watch was also found left there. Also, her medication was left and her personal belongings. So it was kind of clear she most likely did not wander off. But at that point, they didn't close, anything off. But remembering the key evidence and details is important once we get to the ransom notes, which I'm going to pull up now. But yeah, anyone else hear about the hair? That's an interesting, that Nanos just went on and said the hair. I'm curious to see the video if anyone wants to email me it. Okay, so here are the ransom notes. I know it's a lot of information, but I'll start out by just reading them. So also keep in mind, the reason why I chose to analyze only these 2 ransom notes is because Savannah says these are the 2 ransom notes that she believes are real. And I'm going to trust what Savannah says. I know people have a lot of opinions on if they actually are real or not, but I do think I'm going to go with what Savannah says based on the information that I'm sure she's being given. And just because we also have a lot of information about these after Brianna from Crime Junkie's video. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. This wasn't ever read to us, but it says in the middle that in it, the note demands $4 million in Bitcoin by 5 p.m. local time, Thursday, February 5th, with the demand escalating to $6 million if the first deadline was missed, with a final deadline of 5 p.m. Monday, February 9th. So this was received on February 2nd, and this is the first ransom note. It continues on. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 o'clock p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you. So there's a lot there that can be unpacked. Every time I read it, something new is sticking out to me. Again, I just want to say one thing that's interesting about both of these ransom notes is that they were confirmed to come from the same IP address. And also they were both sent to KOLD News 13 in Tucson. What's interesting about that is they say normally ransom notes have 3 things. 1, it has asking for money. 2, it has a sign of life, and 3, it's sent somehow to the family or someone who will want them to come back. Oh, hi Dee, I'm glad you're listening. I hope you're. Dee told me that she works on a farm, so I hope you're listening while you're in one of the barns, maybe. But it is interesting that rather than sending it to the family, they send it to a news channel. They sent it through the secure tip line, which they had sent up, which basically was like, if you have any information about Nancy, if you saw anything weird, please submit it and we're going to review it. So they got this, and this was like the first ransom note that they believed was real, and they were verifying. They also believed it was real because, as I mentioned before, it mentions in it the location of the Apple Watch and the broken porch light. I am still trying to figure out if it was an Apple Watch or not. I refer to it as that because I have an Apple Watch, but I hear people say smartwatch, Fitbit. People say all different things. I just know that it was a smartwatch of some sort and it had a white band, and they said exactly where it was in the house. So you would have to know where was this Apple Watch or watch left to put it in the ransom note to verify. And also the broken porch light, which was a floodlight on the back at the back of Nancy's house. And by knowing this, it basically verifies that you know probably what went down that night and you know what to look for to confirm that you are real. It's also interesting to note that in it, it says, oh, I'm glad you're listening in the barn. That's awesome, Dee. They did not ask for the money through a wire, through cash, through anything of that sort. They asked for it in Bitcoin, which is on the rise. A lot of people are trying to get digital assets now through kidnappings or through blackmail because it's harder to trace and it's easier to kind of make it disappear like that. And you can't find out where it went or what happened. So the fact that they asked for Bitcoin is a sign of the times, but it is interesting to see the shift in ransom notes from before. Um, I've seen a lot of talk about the USD part. I personally think that's weird because who would say USD or who would put that in there, which makes me think one of two things. It's not that weird to request Bitcoin in a certain currency because if you're buying in, for example, Colombian pesos, you would need to spend a lot more in Colombian pesos to get the same amount of Bitcoin. So the fact that they adequated it through that is interesting that they wanted it in USD. But it's also worthy to note, I think, one, you wouldn't write that if you were from United States, you would think it would be implied. And two, I could see it as being someone using an AI or some sort of service to say, what should I put in this? And if they said, put, USD, basically it just auto-filled it how AI does, where it makes it more formal than it needs to be, that would come up. Um, as we all know, Nancy unfortunately had heart problems and needed medication to survive. So, hearing the part about your mother is aware of this and her life is in your hands, that definitely does seem like something that you would normally say in a ransom note. But going on, it says it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. We know that Nancy could have survived without this medication for an amount of time, and God willing, it could have been longer than maybe what doctors are presuming. But I do feel as though maybe this is Nancy telling them, I need this medication. And maybe it's her kind of reacting poorly to not having her medication. And then saying it's in the best interest. They're saying, if you want your mom to come back whole and healthy, you need to pay this ASAP. So it's a little bit different because it's not a child who they can feed easy, they can do all this. She actually has health issues and it genuinely is in her best interest to be returned because of her health issues. She needs her medication. And without that medication, she could pass away. So it's really putting a fire underneath the family to say you need to pay this now. And it is, worthy to note there will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you. But the only way that they have to contact them is to literally put the money in the account. They don't have a way to contact them to negotiate. So that's another weird part of it where it's almost as though if they were using AI or something where you're just inputting what you want the ransom note to say, they're not specifying, hey, I'm going to submit this through an online form. They aren't saying, I'm going to email this, because if they were to write this up, that would maybe, or contact them somehow through a video or something, that would mean that the family could reply back. But the family cannot reply back through this online submission form. It's a one-way form. You can't then take the information and send them a response back. So it is, it's interesting to see. And they also did send it to the news through that online submission form, which is different. That's not normally how ransom notes are received. It'll be a letter dropped off anonymously. I think we've all seen those ransom notes where it's like in movies and things where they cut up the newspaper and then make the little letters say what they want it to. It was not that. It was sent through and it's very clear about what it wants. More pieces to look at are that it specifically addresses Savannah. It goes to say, hello, Savannah. It doesn't say, hello, blah, blah, blah. It could have just started with literally, we have your mother, but it addresses Savannah specifically. There's two other siblings and there's a huge extended family. Well, not huge, but an extended family, but it specifically addresses Savannah, who is Nancy's daughter, who is a well-known celebrity from being on the Today Show. And then it goes on to say, we have your mother, Nancy. Saying your mother, Nancy is interesting because you would think Savannah's reading this now and she would know they're talking about my mom, Nancy. You don't really have to get into, you could either just say, we have your mom or we have Nancy. And if I were to write it, I probably would have said, we have your mom. So mother, and then the inclusion of her name, Nancy, does also make me think, is this someone who English isn't their first language, or that is writing this to sound weird, or is putting this into some sort of AI or something to see if they can, make it seem more like a ransom note and more kind of scary and stuff, using it to up the ante, really. Summary Wednesday says, I was shocked about them using the one-way news email tip line. Me too. When I first heard that from Cases and Conversations, Michelle, I did find that part weird. Just because I've never heard of that before. And it's also one of those things where how do they then look at that and, try and verify? Because it's just a weird way of communication. But again, I think that's kind of the world that we live in. There's speculation on could you actually have sent that and not been traced or what's going on. But if it's someone who kind of has a way to somehow block themselves, I would not be surprised that they would use that as it'd be the best way to do it. And obviously anything that's going to be sent to the family, it's going to be a lot harder to get them, a letter or something. As we all can see, they can look on cameras and see who was driving in the area, or, there's going to be security with the family. So it's interesting, but I do think that's kind of the way that things are going to start moving, is that it's going to happen. Furthermore, as we all know, it does say that they want it has verification details, which it doesn't show in this. We never got like where the verification details are, what it said, but it does mention the Apple Watch and the broken floodlight. That is the only verification detail that we have. We don't have a video of Nancy. We don't have Nancy saying some key detail that no one else would know. We don't have anything of that sort. In my family, we have a safe word. So like if I was actually kidnapped, I would tell them you need to put this in there so they know that I'm alive or that I said that, because there's no way you would know what it is. So it is interesting. And I would get this and I would definitely be scared. I know that a lot of people don't think it's real, but the second that any police officer shows me this, real or not, I would be scared. I would really want my mom back, and I would be nervous for her, especially knowing that she has health issues. Hearing it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible, I would definitely be scared. Again, I don't really know why they say there will be no negotiation. Of course, there's going to be no negotiation. We have no way of getting in contact with you. You just want this money. I have seen this before where it has 2 deadlines, but that's also just something else to know. It's kind of weird how they're basically saying, you have this amount of time to gather the money. And if you don't, then the amount increases on February 9th. So it's something that kind of makes you go, huh? Because I find that weird. This was sent February 2nd, which again is the day after we realized Nancy's missing, what's going on with Nancy. And there was never really any thing that addresses this. They just kind of mentioned it. Oh, there was a ransom note, blah, blah, blah. But again, a lot of this information wasn't released to the public until very recently, exactly what was said. And when you're looking at it, it is very interesting to read. So the second ransom note comes on February 6th. So 4 days after, but it's also important to note that it was after deadline 1, but before deadline 2. So at this point, it would have been that they would have raised the amount of Bitcoin and asking for more. So at this point, they want $6 million Bitcoin. And the FBI had deposited money to see if the person would go on and take it, but that money's still sitting there. It was never taken out. This comes again, received by KOLD News. I say via email, but it did come through the online submission form again. So once again, they're sending it through the online submission form. There's no way of getting in contact with them after it was sent. And really weird. They're kind of not following the traditional method. And it goes, we did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions. We never intended to hurt her. This was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done would have changed the outcome. We are truly sorry. So what sticks out to me here is they think that these are related, but it does sound like 2 different voices. The second one is a little bit more poetic, much softer. There's no threat. It feels a little bit, there's some sympathy there, I feel like, because it's not threatening the family and it's not telling them you need to do this. There's no mention of money. There's no mention of returning her body for any money, because at that point, maybe they would ask, if you give us $3 million, we'll return her body to Tucson. There's nothing of that sort. And it comes before the deadline. So that's why the part about she perished shortly after she was taken, I do feel that unfortunately that would verify that maybe something happened and they're just like, let's just leave this behind. And they're unfortunately have just basically left Nancy's body. The part about heart related, again, makes me think maybe they did have Nancy hostage and maybe they had her somewhere. And Nancy was saying, I need this medication for my heart. I have issues with my heart. I have a pacemaker. And eventually, Nancy, unfortunately, just slipped because without this medication, she was not going to be able to live. But someone outside of the family maybe wouldn't know that she had a heart related problem. So it's interesting that it mentions that specifically. Also, the part about she is buried in nature now. There has been so much speculation, so much chatter about this one line. I think maybe it's going to become one of the most famous lines from any ransom note ever because it's such a weird way to basically imply, she's buried somewhere and she's dead. Um, First of all, Tucson is not very like what I picture with nature. We've talked about this a bunch, but it's more desert. There's like cactuses and things of that sort, but there's not really like a lush forest where you could bury her easily and then people might not notice. It's a lot of just rocks, which would make digging easy and hard and dry soil. Um, the part about where they say nothing you could have done would have changed the outcome, we are truly sorry, which is odd because, you just did this and you really could have just never contacted us again, but yet you're writing to us to apologize. This is something that I'm hopeful of is that whoever did this will eventually feel guilty enough because if they felt sorry at this moment in February, we're 6 months away. Maybe they're going to start to feel more remorse and maybe they're going to come forward. The truth will set you free. And whoever did this, I hope that they will know you can come forward and let this family grieve and let this family know what happened to their mother. It's not fair to them that they don't know where is our mom, what happened to her, and that you've basically after February 6th we haven't had any communication with you. It's really odd. The two different voices, I'm not sure because as many people think there might have been two people involved in this. A lot of people do think one of them was a woman. People say porch guy is actually porch girl. I don't really know. I personally think that it is porch guy. Um, but it's possible that one of them might make it harder to, keep this secret and end up, throwing the other one on the bus and saying, this is what happened. And we're both guilty here, but I need to come forward because I can't hold on to the secret anymore. Like they say in Pretty Little Liars in the theme song, it says two can't keep a secret if one of them is dead. But it is true. It's really hard when there's two people to never have anything come out, never have any information, never accidentally leak something. So I do hope that eventually whoever this is might have a change in heart. A lot of people are referencing how, Savannah just posted a video where she ends it by saying, it's never too late to come home, which is an odd sentiment to say to the people who kidnapped your mother and who abducted her in the middle of the night and who it seems while your mother was in their hands, she passed away. So people are wondering, could it be possible that it is a family member? And in that case, I would really hope that whoever the family member is would find it in their heart to come forward and say what happened, because that's a real lot of guilt to have. And you'd have to be a really sick person to live with that and just be able to go through your life with that, hiding wherever you are, doing whatever. It doesn't sit right to me. And that's why I personally feel that there's something, something else. I don't know. There's just something about it where I feel as though someone is going to have a moment where they want to set the truth free, and I hope that they will. Um, the two ransom notes definitely have like the different language, but they have said that it comes from the same IP address. So it's likely the same person. Summary Wednesday says, I think it's a male, maybe female is the one with vendetta and the mastermind to this operation. So I have heard a lot of that where people think whoever sent the first ransom note might have been the mastermind behind this, and the second ransom note was from the accomplice. People think possibly the first ransom note was someone not even in this country. That's why they say USD, and that's why the language is a little bit odd. And they sent the first ransom note asking for the money, and they were going to give whoever actually kidnapped Nancy a portion of that money, and then they would take a majority. They think this might be a regular operation where this is going on. And that's why people think possibly it was someone who knew maybe something about someone in the family, a close connection to Nancy, and they said, I know that you're desperate for money or that you might be desperate enough to do something like this. If you kidnap, this alleged millionaire and famous newscaster's mother, I will give you a portion of the ransom money once I receive it. But they think after she passed away, after whatever happened, they likely had some sort of contact, and the person who was local said, she passed away. We didn't do this right. This didn't go down how it should have because I'm not a professional. And the mastermind dropped out. The mastermind just was like, I'm wiping my hands of this. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to get caught. And that's why in the second ransom note, it's probably from who's local or from someone from the mastermind's team who feels bad that this took place. Maybe they weren't even really a part of planning it, but they were a part of the execution in a way where they do feel sorry for what happened. Again, you have to be a really sick person to have done something of this sort, but showing remorse, I think, is normal, despite how crazy and disgusting you might be. I would think it's normal that you would feel bad for what happened and that you might want to send a message saying, I'm sorry. That's a Designs Laura says, I think Tommaso is somehow connected. Maybe he owed money to someone. That's what people think, where someone might have found Tommaso and thought, I think this guy is desperate enough to kidnap his mother-in-law. Let's make him do it and see what happens. And I do think that could be, what took place. And then he was not able to do it, not able to make it, not able to execute it the way that the mastermind had planned. And then the second ransom note came from someone trying to give the family closure. Savannah has said that she believes these two ransom notes are real, which is why I chose to only analyze these. TMZ has said that they've gotten many, many ransom notes and that they think a lot of them are fake. And people have been arrested for sending fake ransom notes, which is just so odd and gross. But based on this, it does, imply that if Savannah believes the second ransom note, she would unfortunately believe that her mom did pass away, which only gives you some peace. And that's why I understand that they want her remains returned. That's why I do believe, like, the part about coming home, it can either be referring to Nancy's remains or to someone in the family who has a connection to this. But I think the part about, like, it is, even though they sent this ransom note, sure, it might give you some peace to know, hey, my mom's not suffering. Hey, my mom isn't out there wondering what's going on, wondering if we're looking for her. At least she's at peace and she's not in pain or uncomfortable. But at what really does that bring you? Because then you think about it, how much did she suffer before this happened? We have no answers on what took place. Hi, Serene. We don't know what she went through in her final hours, and she wasn't with anyone to comfort her during those final hours, no matter how scared she was or anything. And that's why I think that they want Nancy's remains. They want to be able to memorialize her, which they haven't been able to do. They want to be able to close this chapter and to move on. Clearly, I think everyone mourns differently, and I don't understand. I think people need to maybe give Savannah a bit more grace. I do think her actions are odd. And in her video, she says, we have done our part, which is odd because they really haven't spent much time searching for Nancy. But if you are so sick over the fact that your mother probably passed away, I don't know that I would be out there searching either. I mean, just imagine being Savannah and accidentally stumbling upon your mom's remains or a piece of her bloody clothing. That would be a whole other traumatic event in and of itself. So I don't know. There's so many ways to look at it, it makes it hard, but I do feel really, really sad for everyone in the family. I think that there's some suspicious characters in the family, and maybe one day all of them will be found innocent and just have been acting really, really strange in their grief and in the aftermath and the fallout of this whole thing. But people are acting odd, and I don't want to assume how someone should. Oh, Summary Wednesday Summary Wednesday in the chat says, I think she is going through a lot. I don't want to dictate how people should grieve. I 100% agree. People can grieve through things in such different ways. And I know that people talk about the stages of grief, and I've heard how it's more like cycles where one day you'll feel this, the next day you'll feel that, 6 months from then, 6 years. And I think that's what it is I'm sure that Savannah has these hard days and has the times where it's hard to show up and hard to do everything. But her mom also wouldn't have wanted her sitting at home or worrying 24/7, I don't think. I think the relationship that they had, I think Savannah would connect to her faith, which she said is something Nancy instilled in her, and hope that in that moment her mom, had prayer and had like the belief of God to keep her comforted, and is now in heaven and at peace, because I know that I would find comfort in thinking that. Um, so I think it's just difficult in a way to look at it where you think, are they trying to bring her home? I don't know. I think they probably want to bring home her remains, and maybe everyone in the family doesn't agree with her, and that's why she spoke out by herself. Maybe some of them still are holding out hope, and that's why we haven't seen Annie and Tommaso. But there's some weird things going on. Serene says, Anne was only doing what she knows. She doesn't know media and prefers not to be in the light that way. I hope we see them together soon. Yeah, that's a big part of it, is that you might have a famous sibling and you want nothing to do with being famous. There's 4 Jonas Brothers, people, and we only know 3 of them, really. The other brother is not in the spotlight. It's the same thing with like Demi Lovato. You see famous families where everyone's famous, but then other ones aren't. Not everyone wants to be on camera. And what one person is comfortable doing might make their sibling so extremely uncomfortable. I think in the video, when people are talking about they look like they're guilty, like Annie and the brother Cameron, is it that they're just so uncomfortable being on camera and that they've now left Tucson because they're so afraid of being captured? Like, I would not feel comfortable having photographs taken of me and having people come up to me, asking me questions, bringing up this traumatic memory and taking photos of me, and that becoming my life. That would be really, really, really difficult. It's going to be interesting to see if Tommaso returns to work, because he is an English teacher, and I don't believe he's retired. So I think he was teaching. Can someone correct me if I'm wrong there? But I'll be curious to see if he returns to work, or if he ends up taking some sort of FMLA, or deciding no longer that he'll be working. So there's so much to be said there. But I do think that Savannah's new video kind of aligns with her believing that the first and second ransom notes were not, or were real, and were not fake. I know, as TMZ has said, that there's been ransom notes that have been sent that were not real, but they definitely have ways of verifying. And I think what's a little bit concerning. Okay. Angel Eyes says that Tommaso is not registered for school this year. See, that's interesting. And that's just kind of pointing to it. Like, is he guilty then? I don't know. I don't know what to believe there. Because that's a really, I don't know. That's interesting. But also, that's still, you could be guilty, or you could just be so uncomfortable with returning and having to answer questions every day from your coworkers or from your students. That's a lot of pressure on you to be in that environment and have to go through that. So I'm not really sure. But with it, I do think it's one of those things where I hope, as these 2 ransom notes were collected and properly analyzed, I hope that the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI did a good job of sorting through everything, because who knows, really, that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just, I hope that the verification process was not taken lightly and done with extreme precaution to make sure that they're collecting everything. As we know, like, Nanos did make a comment saying, oh, well, we found gloves, but we threw them out. And it's like, well, aren't we looking for gloves? Because the perp was wearing gloves. Porch guy has gloves on. So why are we not saving every glove and analyzing it? Then in another interview, he's talking about, well, we've collected hundreds of gloves, even though it's this far, and we're looking at the ones close and then not the ones far away. It just does not make any sense listening to that guy talk. But I hope, like, now that we do think these 2 ransom notes are real, and now that Nanos has said that there's an entire team looking into the Nancy Guthrie case, working closely with Savannah and working closely with, he does specify the family, which implies Cameron and Annie also have contact. I do hope that, even though Nano sounds like he has no idea what he's talking about, maybe that's for the best and he's far away and detached from the whole thing, so that it can be properly analyzed by people who know what's going on. Even listening to Nanos talk about DNA, it's clear he has, and I'm not claiming to be an expert, but at all. But listening to him, you would think working in this field for as long as you have and having reports given to you, you would maybe understand and be able to talk about it a little bit better than you are, because I really don't think he is the best person. Serene says, it is possible this investigation was slowed up because of Savannah. It's like she was begging for time, maybe. That's interesting. Do you mean this investigation? Do you think it was slowed up like for time wise because she didn't want to accept the fact that maybe her mom might have passed? Or do you think it slowed up like for work? I'm curious what you might think. And then Designs Laura says some Tucson schools. So that's telling. I mean, if no one's seen Tommaso working, then he's definitely not going to be working. From Summary Wednesday in the chat, it's just scary that they haven't caught the perp. I definitely would be afraid. And we talk a lot about the family not speaking out, but Nancy Guthrie had friends. It was known that she would go to her church service. She was an avid mahjong player. She had a robust social life, it seems like, until recent years and COVID, when it just made it harder, and then her mobility seemed to slip. But I would be scared if I was Nancy Guthrie's friend. I know that they say everything else going on, like there was another woman in the area who had her home broken into, and they claim it wasn't connected. Who's to say if it was or not? But I do think it's interesting how we haven't heard from any of them, but it also would make sense, because if they don't have any idea who did this, who's to say it's not someone who wanted to take old women, who wanted to go into an older woman's house and take their belongings, or has a weird, fetish. We've talked about this and I don't want to get too into it just because it's so sad and icky, but has a thing for older women and wanted to take her. Is it someone looking, for that generational wealth of who are these older people living in this community? And assuming Nancy has close friends that are her age, it wouldn't be the smartest thing maybe to be putting yourself out on camera. The one friend did say that she's done talking about Nancy. I did see that. And then I think also like the other ones are refusing interviews, but I have seen people say it's probably because they signed NDAs and they don't want any more information coming out. Which if you have the legal power to do that, I would get that, because maybe you wouldn't want sensitive information about your mom coming out, or just the people who might come out and claim that they were close to your mom. There's so many imitation ransom notes flying, but there's not any imitation friends or imitation family members who are trying to just make a quick buck off of talking about this, which is interesting, but also probably shows the loyalty of Nancy's friends. I need to take a sip of water. I don't think every time I do this, I talk for, I think 40 minutes straight. And then I'm so thirsty. Okay. So that is another thing. And when you really think about it, she's a community member who had a social life, who had friends, and one day she's just gone. And it's not normal where she might have passed away because she was elderly. We don't know where she is. And her friends are having to go through that, and that fear and that mourning and that scary feeling of maybe growing up hearing about young people being taken, young women, but not an elderly woman. It's very rare that happens. And especially in the United States and in Tucson, in that area, it doesn't seem that people are just actively going missing, especially elderly people. I think younger people, there's definitely, unfortunately, a track record of, them being taken or them going missing, but not so much an 84-year-old grandma who lives by herself. Serene says, it was so good not seeing his hands in that interview. Then he was back again. LOL. Okay. I think you mean Nanos's hands with the going like that and tickling himself basically. But I agree. He's just an odd guy. And I know that he's an elected official, but it kind of makes me laugh how they chose to elect him. And there's definitely some sort of odd thing going on. Angel Eyes says, next, tell Michelle. Oh, okay. Michelle's on vacation. So I don't know that Michelle, whose Cases and Conversations, everyone probably knows who that is, but I don't think she's doing any streaming while she's away. She's just going to enjoy. So I hope she's enjoying, but I'm here. I'm going away tomorrow afternoon. I'll be away until Monday night. I'm just going up to Boston and then to Nantucket, but I might go live. I don't know if people would be interested in seeing a few people joined my live when I was live in Boston, and then when I went live at Ariana Grande. So maybe I'll go live from Boston or Nantucket or the Cape. I don't know if people are interested in that, but I was talking with a few other live streamers, and maybe I'll try. So if anyone knows the one that you want me to hop on, let me know, because I'll be driving and I'm happy to connect my phone and I can just talk while I'm driving. That's just a little bit of personal stuff, what's going on with me. So I do want to try and go live weekly by myself and then hop on other ones. And like I said, I thought it was just important to go back to the beginning. I'll swap to the other slide for a second. But as you can see, going back to it, the thing that was mentioned was, what's this? Boston has those huge walk-in fireplaces. Yeah, in those old homes. Yes, in the Northeast, in a lot of older homes that you go into, it's more of like a hearth. So you can literally step into the fireplace because it's meant for you to be able to go in there and cook. And a lot of the older homes in this one area of Boston, which is called Beacon Hill, it's like the best preserved of the old homes. You can see that still, where you literally can like step inside. I mean, not me because I'm so tall, but like the children and the wife and whoever was cooking would be able to go in and like put the stuff over the fire and cook within it. So it's really interesting. And a lot of them had fireplaces in every room if you were wealthy, because there was no heat back then. So Boston's a really cool city in that way. There's a lot of great history. I have a friend who lives on a vintage farm estate in Connecticut. So maybe one day I'll see if I can do a tour of her house, because it's super cool. And there's like parts of the house where there's weird beams and stuff, and they think actually there's like treasure hiding in there. And then if you open up this one closet, it leads to this like hidden room. There's like a basement hidden underneath the floor that you wouldn't know existed. There's a lot of really, really, really cool stuff at her house. So maybe I'll do that, and then go also into, she has like horses, they have goats, chickens. Their house is really cool, and it's they redid one of the barns, and it's super nice. And then they built a barn for the horses, and they have solar panels, golf cart. It's a beautiful property. But Serene, I also love old world architecture, especially I'm super New England. I feel like I love the New England colonial style. It's just so beautiful, and I feel like it brings me comfort. So that's why I do really love Nantucket, because Nantucket, I think it's said to be the most well-preserved example of whatever century New England architecture in the entire world. Well, I guess in New England, but it's beautiful, and just the houses and the stores and everything is really, it's just a really cool place. But I love that type of, things. And yeah, but it made me think of, just bring it back to Nancy, how she was talking about that they stayed in Tucson because she liked the way of life there. She liked just being outside and everything. And I do think it's sad that in such a beautiful place, something like that happened. But you see it a lot, like the people who say nothing like this ever happens in a small town, and then it does. We had crazy things happen in my small town, in the town over from me. Cases and Conversations and I are going to cover this, but there was a woman who was found murdered really violently. And she was in a wealthy neighborhood. She was wealthy herself. Her family was totally normal. No sign that anything like this would ever happen. No real reason that anyone knew of. And she was found brutally murdered. So things like that do happen, and it's really scary, and it's really sad. And I think it goes to show, like in my area, a lot of people don't have cameras, or don't have, don't lock their doors, don't like leave the keys in the car kind of thing. And I think the world is changing where you really can't do that anymore, because it's a very dangerous place. And if you're an elderly person, I definitely think a doorbell camera, you should have one, and you should have a subscription. The fact that she was 84 years old, they were sending her off in Ubers back and forth. She was out doing whatever she wanted, and they did not have a subscription to her doorbell camera is really weird. And the fact that no one else was monitoring the doorbell camera is also odd, because wouldn't you want to know what's going on? We have doorbell cameras for my grandfather and my father. He has access to it. we have a second home. There's cameras there that everyone watches. And there's also another part about Nancy is her pacemaker. You can be connected to it. So she's connected through an app, and you can have more than one person on that app. So typically it's the person who has the pacemaker themselves and then a family member or specifically someone close by. So in this case, the obvious choice would be Annie because she lives 10 minutes away. Um, and we don't know if she was connected to that app, but if she was, she should have had alarms on her phone to basically go off to notify her that maybe something was wrong, that it disconnected. That definitely needs to be looked at because that's really bizarre that she had this like ability to have that and she didn't have it, and then they didn't have cameras, which is it's just odd. Serene says, why does the power go off randomly, or is that a fib? So the power going off is something that's debated because certain people say it was the whole neighborhood blackout, other people say it was just one house. It does seem like it was maybe just the one house and it was just the side cameras didn't pick up anything. But it also seems to be that I think people think of it as like a normal city street where there's streetlights and stuff, but it would already be really dark there. Um, so the only thing that you would pick up would be car lights. But again, in this case, it's so dark there, you'd have to be driving with car lights. So if any of the neighbors did have Google footage, like from a Nest or from a Ring doorbell, it would probably pick up a car speeding away. And you'd know the time to look at. Literally look at 2:28 a.m., 2:28 a.m. to 2:45 a.m. on February 1st. And if you see a car speeding by, its lights go by, you would maybe know we need to look into this vehicle. So I do think that's one concern because, as we know, like the Pima County Sheriff's Department did not do a good job of trying to get that camera footage, and they say that days were wasted, according to Kash Patel, the director, and he had to contact Google to go into their huge storage of every video that's recorded on it. But it makes me wonder, were they able to do that for every house? Because that's a huge amount of data to collect and to look through. Again, they've had 6 months to do it. So I'd hope they, if that's your job, you should only be looking at this footage. But Nanos is still here saying we're sorting through video footage. So what's going on there? Why are you still sorting through video footage 6 months later? Summary Wednesday, the power going off is kind of weird to me. I wonder if it was connected to the kidnapping. So I have heard them say that there's devices that if you really are a bad person and if you are a professional, you can turn off the power, turn off the Wi-Fi, turn off the internet in a specific spot. So people do think that maybe there was something suspicious going on there and there was a greater entity who had malicious intent and somehow turned off the power in that area and made it so that the cameras weren't recording and basically made themselves untraceable by using whatever this technology is. Again, it's kind of sounds conspiratorial, but then when you look at what happened in Venezuela, where they took Maduro, who was the president of Venezuela, it does sound that they somehow came over in a chopper, turned some switch, and all the power in the president's house went off. And then 5 minutes later, he's in a helicopter taken by United States military personnel and is on his way to Miami. So that is interesting to think about. Like, are these really professionals and they're going in there, turning off the power and then breaking in? A camera on a fake cactus would actually be a good idea, especially with those cactuses or cacti that they have in Nancy's area where they're like literally taller than me and I'm 6'1". I think that would be a great idea, somehow glued into the top or, we have in our area telephone poles that are just like trees so that they're not as disruptive to the architecture or to the environment. And you basically don't notice them. So having something like that would be good. But again, you wouldn't pick up certain things. You might pick up some motion, but with it being so dark in that area, I don't know that you would see certain things. And it also does beg the question of the how the fact that the man porch guy is wearing a backpack with reflecting light strips that they say he bought at Walmart. But why is he wearing that if he's a trained professional? Does he want to look stupid and look like he's not one? Or is it because it was a last minute purchase and a last minute thing and he wasn't even supposed to be there? Because you would think if you're going to go and break into someone's home, the first thing that you'd want to do is not have anything like that on you. The second a neighbor sees something going on and shines their light or a car drives by you, you are going to stick out like a sore thumb in the middle of the desert in Arizona. And someone's going to know there's someone there and they look suspicious because they're wearing a mask. So it does beg the question of, are they a professional trying to look unprofessional, or are they unprofessional? And in that case, how the hell did they get there? Why are you an unprofessional breaking into someone's house? And, it brings it back to the 2 ransom notes being written, the first one by the mastermind, the second one possibly by someone who was involved and just felt this sympathy and felt bad and ended up writing that and saying, I'm sorry, because they didn't really know what they were getting themselves into. So that could be the case. The backpack was also filled all the way up, which we don't know why. Well, he was seen surveilling the area a few days before. That is true. And then they asked for the camera footage from January 11th. So I don't think we really ever got an answer on that. But if you're asking for footage from longer ago, does that mean that they have some reason to think he was in the area? Going in blind into that situation would be really crazy. So I can imagine that there would be suspicious things going on. I know that some of the neighbors have mentioned that there was like a truck in the area, just sitting there and acting super weird. So it could be something like that. I don't know. It's scary to think about. But if they are some sort of entity, what are they doing? And what was the interest in Nancy Guthrie? Even though her daughter is famous and a celebrity, Savannah, what is the interest and what are you going to get out of kidnapping her? I know that they were asking for Bitcoin, but is there something we don't know about the Guthrie family having some secret reserves of wealth? Because it's just odd. Summary Wednesday, the bag is really weird. I don't know why the bag is so full. Is it a tarp? Was it like a sheet? Who knows really what was in there? But I've seen other people say, like, is there stuff missing from the home that, again, we just haven't been told about? Because they did describe it as a concerning scene, which could just mean the blood and, the shattered floodlight and everything else. But does it also mean maybe when the family got in there and Annie and Tommaso were looking around, they started being like, oh, mom's this is missing, mom's that is missing, all the expensive this is missing, they took all the silverware. So maybe they were trying to rob the place. So it is interesting. I also think, just on this note, the video of Tommaso walking out of the house, I'm sure everyone's seen it, with his pants filled with stuff. There's just so many weird things about it. It's like, even if Tommaso is not connected, I just want to know what were in your pants, that your pants were that full. Why do you have so many things in your pocket? I hate having things in my pockets. And that's only the thing that we saw. So say he was stealing things from the home. We don't know if he had on some sort of vest or something that was holding other money or whatever he was stealing. I've heard gold blocks. I've heard stacks of cash, jewelry boxes, like antique spoons, people think that's displayed. So I actually have one. I want to show it. One moment. I saw people thinking that it's one of these. So this is a case with a spoon in it. I don't think this one's of any value at all, but older women collected spoons, and the spoons often come in these display cases. You can also hang them, but the size of the box is a little bit similar to what he had in his pocket, or if the spoon was bigger. So in my head, I was thinking, maybe did she have some spoon collection? Because if you look on eBay, some of these spoons go for thousands of dollars. So if you have a few of them, that could be $10,000 in your spoon collection. So again, that's just all speculation and just trying to figure out why your pocket's so full and what was in there. And I don't think anyone ever said Nancy's a spoon collector. We know that she liked mahjong, and her mahjong set was original from Singapore when her husband went there and got it for him or for her. So we know that she had an eye for antiques or just for things that were older, but we don't know. Ceremony Wednesday, that shape looks rectangular though. I do think it was rectangular though when you look at his pants. So I would think maybe it's rectangle like a big spoon or something. So I don't know, because I didn't think it was too squared off looking. It looked like a long, thicker rectangle, but I don't know what the display case would look like. Again, it could be a display case for something else. I don't know what people are collecting. Maybe they're collecting vintage spectacles, which I also have some of. I don't know if people want to see all this, but I'm going to go grab them. It could be a case of something like these, you know, where she had these and maybe they'd be worth money at an antique show. These I got from my grandmother and they definitely would be worth some sort of money. So I like collecting little odds and ends. I'm a big thrifter, but I like vintage things. These are another pair that are cool because like they don't have any rims. And if you look, it's like a hook kind of that just hooks onto your ear. It's not actually a like a normal set of glasses that I don't know how to describe the difference. These ones have like the hook, these ones have the hard piece. So it's interesting. Look, these ones are fun. These are like secretarial, I feel like, with the half moon spectacles. But yeah, they are cool. I am a picker. Serene. Yeah, I have these are another pair that are like a hook. These ones are actually more dramatic with it. I think you can see it. They have like a stronger hook, but they also have like this tiny embroidery, which is cool, embroidered metal. So again, we have 15 people here, so I don't know if everyone's enjoying watching this or not, but it's fun for me. I like talking about things like this. I love antiques. I love antiquing. This is another pair of half moon that are like giving secretary. Oh, my thing is vintage table lighters. Okay, wait. I actually have a vintage table lighter somewhere, but it's not that big. So I don't know if it'd be considered a table lighter because I've seen really cool ones. But yeah, anyone else like antiques? Let's talk about them because I'm having fun. I'll show you guys what else I have in here. But I love antiquing. I love my collections. Can you see this? I don't want to tilt them all out, but this is just one case of like a big thing of jewelry that I have. But I love collecting buttons. I'm a button collector. I like little locks and keys. So I have a ton of little locks and keys. And then these are all really old skeleton keys. So I've always liked these since I was little, and I tried to take my mom's because she has the original ones from her house. But yeah, they're just cool to look at, and I don't know what it is. One day when I have a house, hopefully I'll find some way to display all of them. But there's some really cool ones, like even this one. You know, you wonder, what did this go to? Do you see that? It's really weird looking. I just saw another one that I really like. This one I have multiples of. It's just a cool design. Sometimes I'll wear this one. And then, you know, I have random little coins that I like to grab. This one is from Catholic Relief Services. These are the keys to my old apartment that I never returned by accident. This one's really pretty. It looks like an English, like I feel like they'd have that over to unlock the house to some expensive gate or something. Well, yeah, this is just a tiny little pocket knife. But look at how little it is. Isn't that cool? Thank you, Serene. But yeah, I just thought it was cool. I know that we got so off topic, but that's very much so me. ADHD. Oh, I also collect stamps. This is a random set of stamps. These aren't anything special, but it's actually for Eid, which is like the holiday in the Muslim community. So I just thought it was pretty. I believe that there's 2 Eids, I think. I'm not 100% sure. And then I have just all different ones. I love collecting stamps. These ones aren't, again, anything really special. Oh, that small pocket knife could have come from an antique chatelaine. Is a chatelaine something to eat cheese with? I'm not sure. This is something cool. It's a shirt collar, like necklace. So you clip it on, and then it does this in between your collar. And then this one's all metal. This one I think I might wear to a wedding that I'm going to that's Western. There's a Western party. It's not Western themed, but there's a Western part of the party. And I was thinking this could be cool. I don't know if everyone can see it well. Yeah, I just have, this is a really cool antique bracelet. It's beautiful. It has really cool, intricate mosaic, I would call it, I guess. It's super, super fun. Yeah, I have I'm a jewelry collector. So here's my collection of some of my necklaces. Can you see them okay? I don't want to make anyone motion sick, but I collect a lot of jewelry. I'm huge in jewelry. I'm more of a silver person, but these are just some of my necklaces. I'll swap them out to do different, like I'll take a chain and then put a different thing on it. And I have just pounds of jewelry that I've collected. My grandmother had a ton of jewelry and I ended up taking most of it that was costume. Designs Laura says, Victorian women wore chatelaines that would hold their tools, like a nurse would have a thermometer. Oh, so that's what correct me if I'm wrong, chatelaine, I think is how you would say that. But that's interesting. That's awesome, Serene. Everyone, feel free to email me any photos of your jewelry. I would love to be a jewelry designer. Here, I'll grab more jewelry if we want to just look for fun. So I'm grabbing a few trays from my collection. Okay. Here they are. I'm going to show 3 trays, but maybe one day I'll just do a live just showing off my jewelry. This one kind of reminds me of Nancy because it has the cactus. I hope everyone can see all this. Good. Oh, you design jewelry? Oh my God. Send me an email. I'd love to buy some, or I want to see it. Send it to, it's justmaxxofficial@gmail.com. Oh, thank you, Summary Wednesday. You seem really interesting. Send me an email. I want to chat with you. I love emailing. It's fun for me and it's fun to connect with everyone. I just sent Kate Wilson a card because we were chatting about cards and we chat about books and it's fun. I love to read. So anyone who wants to talk about books, you are welcome to email me. I want to do a book club on here. I know some people are interested, so maybe we'll try and do that soon. But these are 2 matching sets. Oh my God. I didn't realize that I'm not big on the screen. Thank you, Laura. I can't believe I did not realize that. Okay. It's probably hard to have seen everything that I just showed. So if anyone wants to see anything again, please tell me so I can try and give you a better view. But these are 2 matching pins or brooches. So I think you'd wear one like here and then maybe one, I don't know where, on your sleeve or something. Serene says, I used put old jewelry in bouquets for my friend's wedding. Oh, that's a really cool idea. I might do that for, I have a friend getting married in September. She's my first friend to get married. These, I love cameos. I love cameos. And this one, I don't know if it'd be considered a cameo, but it is a portrait. But I am obsessed with things like this. It is a vintage brooch, but it has a portrait of a lady on it. I should look up to see who she is. I'm not really sure, but I love that one. Here's one I have that's sadly broken. But this is more of a cameo, so it just has the carving. But yeah, Designs Laura, please share what you have. And also, Serena, I love that idea. I'm still thinking about maybe which one I could give away to her. Here's another cameo, just a little one. I'll show this and then I'll hop off. I know that we're so off topic, but maybe this is fun for the people who are watching. I'm having fun showing it. Oh, ow, just stabbed myself. I have a 1920 handheld mirror. Wow, that's cool, from the 1920s. Send me a photo of that on email. This one I love because my birthday's Halloween, so I'm a Halloween baby. So this is a scarecrow, and I just think it's a cute, fun one. Oh, this is a necklace. I don't know how this ended up in here. It's carved in ivory, or maybe not ivory, but looks like it. Imitation, I'd say, because I don't think it's real. But it's just a little flower. I'll put it on. If I can get it on. Ow. There we go. Yeah, it's nice. This shirt is thrifted also. This is from the old country. It no longer exists. It's called Swaziland. It was an African country that I'm not sure what is it now. I have a lot of Christmas brooches, Christmas tree. This one's just a fun little one. Yeah. I won't show off all these, maybe another time, but these are, I have rings here. So this one a lot of people saw on my live with Michelle, where it's a flower ring, but I think it's cool because it's like a different type of band and it's big. This is that same type of band, and it has like bedazzles and stuff. Oh, thank you, Cases in Conversation. Hi. I see that you've been texting me, Michelle, but I need to look at it after because I didn't want to get too distracted. You know, I am not good at multiple things at once, so I need to focus. This is all of my grandfather's. Everyone say hi to Cases and Conversations. Hi, Brenda. Oh, hi. We're just looking through my jewelry. So if anyone's new coming in. I love miniature lanterns with the wick also. Ooh, that's cool. I keep these kind of the same vibe because this is electric with batteries, but I like feeling like carrying it at night. Like I don't know, someone different. I'm not sure. Oh, this is a really cool new necklace that I just got. It's a beluga whale, and I got it on Martha's Vineyard, on the vineyard, because on the vineyard they oh yes, we did blow it out for Angel Eye's birthday, so some of you might recognize it. But yeah, it's they think that some of the people who were native to Martha's Vineyard ended up becoming sea creatures and leaving to escape what was going to happen. Look at this ring. Obviously it's costume jewelry, but could you imagine having a ring that big? One day. I hope I get one. Yeah, just a lot of cool rings. This is an antique money clip with a Pegasus. So, yeah. I have a lot of, what are these called? I can't remember. When you put it on the shirt? Cufflinks. Lots and lots of cufflinks. So, I love having they're just super fun. This is a cool pin of an umbrella, but it's really like detailed how the gold is woven, and it has the little tiny diamond, which I'm guessing is fake, at the bottom. Oh, I should show my card collection, Michelle. That's a good idea. Okay, I'll finish showing this, then I'll show my card collection, then I'm gonna hop off. But this is a tie clip, so you put it on your tie and it goes like this. I think I wore this to my grandmother's funeral because it was my grandfather's, but I don't really fully remember. I'm just seeing, this is kind of a cool ring, a little bit different. I almost gave this to a friend. Ha ha ha, and we look around our homes, it's like, yes, that is so true. Your house should be a museum of your heart. This is a wooden ring, kind of fun. Okay, we're done with this tray, I think. There's some other interesting things, but nothing that needs to be shown ASAP. In here I have some vintage watches. So here's two different ones. They're so tiny, so they're too tiny for me, but I just think that they're beautiful. This one is really pretty. It has like little diamonds, obviously costume jewelry. It's probably from Kohl's if it was my grandmother. My grandmother loved the color blue, so a lot of her jewelry looked like this, but this is a fun bracelet, I think. I wore it once to a dinner, and it's all glass that then they like put different things in and stuff. This is from Barcelona. It's a little charm bracelet showing off park. I don't remember what it's called. Where, does anyone know the park in Barcelona that's famous? What's the artist? It starts with a G. If anyone knows, please put it in Parkiel, maybe. And I can't remember what the artist's name is, but this is really cool. I see you saying so delicate, Serene. This one's really delicate looking, I feel like. It's just beautiful little beads. Here's another little watch, but it's a circle. This would never fit me. I honestly don't know that this is fitting any adult woman either, but maybe for a baby, one day I'll give it to someone. It's a cute little thing. Here's another cool, this kind of reminds me of Arizona, but it's a like beautiful, just blue stone. Oh, Giel. Okay, yeah. Who was the artist? Does anyone remember what his name is? I don't know why I can't think of it. I love this bracelet. This is cool. It has the cross. I think that's a Celtic cross. Maybe I'm not showing it long enough, but look, it has those blocked beads, which I just think are cool. Here is a pearl bracelet that was my other grandmother's. If the stones feel cool, they are gemstones. Do they? No, they're fake then. They do not feel real. But it's pearls, and then it has that silver lining, which I just think is fun. Here's another cool one. It has mood ring all over it. Or mood like stone type thing. Serene, I also collect gemstones. I collect a little bit of everything. If you can't tell, I'm like a hoarder. So there's this little room back here, and it has all the stuff that I hoard. So we could do show and tell for hours in my bedroom, but I'll show my card collection and some of my paper goods, and then we'll log off. Okay, I'm grabbing them. I'm coming. Okay. Here is this little Monchichi. A lot of people love these. Oh, Gaudi. Yes, that's the name. Gaudi was the artist. And did you know that he actually died tragically because they thought that he was a peasant in the street who got hit by the bus? So he was dying in the street, and they ended up, unfortunately, just letting him pass away because they didn't realize that it was Gaudi, this famous artist who was obviously wealthy and well-respected. And he had gotten hit by the metro, and they just told him to leave him, which was really sad. This is from Dubai. My friend went to Dubai. It's a genie lamp. This is, does anyone like Wicked? I love Wicked. This is from the Munchkins, but I keep all the tea bags. It smells so good. I keep every tea bag of everything that I drink. So any tea bag, I drink it. Long drive. I actually went to the village of Gaudi in Spain. I think I went there too. What is it called, the village? It's in the north of Spain, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's near Leon, Spain, I think. And I'm pretty sure I've gone there. I used to live in Spain for 2 years, so I've gone to a lot of different places in Spain, and I'm pretty sure we went on an excursion there one weekend, and we went there for a while. Here's a Chinese letter envelope. This is all crazy stuff, you guys. I don't know that I can even show this because it's like beads and things. I collect matchboxes. Oh, it's called Gaudi. Okay, so then I don't think I've gone there. This is a turquoise belt. This kind of reminds me of Arizona and Nancy because I know turquoise is really big out there. Okay, on to the next box. No, it's not. Wait, what is not, Serene? I'm curious. If it's something you want me to show, I'll pick it up again. I have all these boxes, so here's another one. Let's see what's in this one. Oh, this is all my cards. These are the Polo Ralph Lauren stamps. They did a stamp collection for the post office, so there's lots of cute little ones. Definitely go and check it out. I learned that apparently these are more expensive than normal stamps, and you get less. So that's kind of odd. Yeah, the cactus one is cute. I'll definitely bring that. So Michelle Cases and Conversations and I are actually booking a trip out to Arizona. So we're going to go and we're going to be heels on the ground. And we are going to see what we can dig up, what we get up to. And we're definitely taking everyone along with us. So don't worry. And we're very excited. So it's going to be really a cool trip, but I'll bring the cactus with us. And obviously, you know, we're hoping maybe we can find something. I'm not sure what we're going to get up to, but we're going to bring everyone with us. We're going to try and find Nanos. I'm going to find Tommaso. I'm going to find Danny. I'm going to find them all. We're finding Nancy. We're bringing her home. This is a cross, praying for Nancy. I went through an old Bible book. Okay, I have an old Bible in here somewhere, Serene, so you're going to see it. It's a tiny little Bible. I actually may have moved it because I was afraid of it getting messed up here. So I don't know if it's in here. I also collect vintage postcards, so I have hundreds, like boxes and boxes filled. Death Valley National Park. I should look to see. Oh, here's me as a baby. Do you guys want to see? I don't know if everyone can see it. There I am. I'm on the water. Yeah, we're excited. Designs Lore. It's definitely going to be a good excursion. But yeah, I collect cards. These are some cards that I just got in Greece. I have no idea what they say. But this one I think is for bridal, like people who get married. This one I believe is for a baby boy being born. And this one I also think is for a baby boy being born. Thank you, Designs Laura and Long Drive. I appreciate it. Thank you, Summary Wednesday. Here is $1 from Brazil. Well, it's 20 Brazilian dollars, I guess. I don't know what the currency is there, even though I have this. Oh, Designs Laura, you would appreciate this. Let me show you. This is, where'd it go? Oh, this is my friend Vanessa. She has a jewelry brand. It's called Box of Colors. They are based in Colombia, in Cartagena, Colombia, where she's from. And I love all of their jewelry. It's so pretty. So I bought that from there. This is from the Ralph Lauren coffee shop. I just went there over the weekend. It's really cool in there. And we met some of Ariana Grande's backup dancers in there randomly enough. But yeah, that's from there. I love keeping random things that like no one should be holding on to. And I'll use it as a bookmark. I like to have weird bookmarks. This is a prayer in Spanish for people who are getting married. I bought that in Puerto Rico. Here are some bookmarks from the Boston Public Library. And then these are the art of Picasso. I think you go like that, maybe. And then this is Camarasa. But yeah, this is just some of my stuff. I'm going to Nantucket this weekend. Here is a map of Nantucket from Ellen Hildebrand. Can you see it okay? So I love Ellen Hildebrand books. I know a bunch of us have talked about them on these lives before, but I'm huge on Ellen. And we're doing a trip for Ellen this weekend. We're going to do everything that she brings up in her books. Serene, yeah, it's honestly kind of crazy. I don't know where everything is eventually going to go, but that's a problem for my future. So I'm not too nervous about it, but I'm just going to flip through these. Let's see if there's anywhere interesting. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this. So these are some of my postcards, and a lot of them have writing on the back. But this is in Rock City Gardens Lookout. Beautiful. Miami, I think. I'm trying to see if there's any in Arizona. Oh, here's like an old colonial home. So we have a lot of these in our area of New England. This is a tower somewhere, and it has writing on the back. Let's see if we can read what it says. Okay, so I cannot. Oh, Summary Wednesday. I read Summertime. Wish you were here to go fishing and camping. May top, I think it says. Here's another postcard. Hope I was holding it the wrong way. It looks like, oh, it's in Los Angeles, San Diego. This one's pretty. I don't know where that is, but it's pretty. Oh, this is in the Poconos. So a lot of people are going to the Poconos lately. I've been hearing it's the New Hamptons. Or I guess maybe it's the Old Hamptons. I'm not sure. Hi, had a good something, too good. I can't read what this says. I'm sorry, you guys. I wish I could. This I bought myself when I went to the Alps. So I went to Chamonix, and I bought that there. So that's not vintage. Here is Harper Memorial Library in Chicago. I actually just had a friend reach out to me from Chicago. If they still sell those in my country. Summary Wednesday, where are you from? Put in the comments. I'm curious. Are you like postcards? I wonder where you're from that maybe they don't have postcards. We sell some postcards in the United States, but they're not like really pretty and like on quality paper anymore. This one's pretty. This is Niagara Falls. South Africa. Wow, that's so cool. My family, we belong to a golf course, and all the workers from there are South African. And also, I love Charlize Theron. So I'd love to go to South Africa one day. Maybe I'll come visit. Here's another one. This is, I don't know. This one has writing. Oh, wow. Wait, let's read this, you guys. It's a poem. Okay. I'll hold one up and I'll read. There's a spot in me heart which no Colleen may own. There's a depth in me soul never sounded or known. There's a place in my memory, my life that you fill, no other can take, no one ever will. I love the dear light that shines in all the brow, that's all furrowed and wrinkled with care. I kiss the dear fingers so toil worn for me. Oh, God bless you, find your mother for me. What? Oh no, it says keep you mother for me. Okay, so I don't know what is going on there. Summary Wednesday, would love to come to South Africa, so don't joke around because I'll book a trip. I'm always traveling. I'm going to Mexico and Honduras, and this year I already went to Spain, Greece, and Colombia, and many other places like Florida, all around the United States. This one's pretty. Philadelphia. I'm getting so hungry, so this is a beautiful one. This is New York City. It's the Statue of Liberty. Serene says, OMG Max, you know those old posters where they have like gladiator female with a lion? They were around back in the 70s. I have been looking everywhere for the ones we had. Oh, no, I don't know that. I'm going to have to look that up. I have, of course, old posters, but I love old vintage posters and things of that sort. So I'll definitely have to look. I'm going to look that up right after, and I'll keep my eyes peeled because if I find one, I'll mail you it. Washington Coast. Oh, this is interesting. Let me show everyone this first. So this is a scarf tying manual for women. And it shows different ways that you can wear a scarf. So it's just fun and cool. Yeah. Guys, we have gotten so off topic. But, I think people are liking it, and I'm having fun showing it because I don't have anyone to show these oddities aside from my mom. So I just love things like this. I don't know why. It's just, I feel like I'm an old soul, and maybe I was alive back then. So it reminds me of a past life, So I feel really comforted looking through old things. And that's why I loved going like at my grandmother's house. She was a kind of collector like me. Like she had a bunch of cards that I stole. This is a funny one. It says, all a man needs to be happy is a good woman, a fast car, and some hot food. Or is it a good car, some fast food, and a hot woman? Or maybe it's a fast woman, a hot car, and some good food. Whatever it is, have a great birthday. Yeah. Adrian, hi. No, Scotland, no party. I wonder if I have any from Scotland in my collection. I'm going to have to look. But hi, I'm so happy you're here. I love when you pop up in the chat. I'm so happy that we met the other night on, I don't even remember where because we've been on so many random live streams. But I love seeing you here. So thank you for coming. Oh, here it is. I wanted to show everyone this. This is, they would give you these at liquor stores. It's an old way to make drinks. So it's like a drink guide. And it shows you all the different ways. But one day I'd love to frame it because isn't that a cool like visual. So I want to have a custom frame made, and I'll put it near the bar in my house. And I just think it's a beautiful visual, the way that all the colors look. I love. I haven't gone to Scotland yet, so hopefully I'll make it there. Maybe next summer. That's one spot I missed out on. I love also just things that look like haunted children. I call them my collection of haunted children, and I just think she looks beautiful, this little girl. So it's just fun. But yeah, there's so much in here. I have one more box that I'm going to briefly show, and then I'm hopping off because I'm so hungry, but I like chatting with everyone. Oh, there's really nothing to, well, there's a few things that are cool in here. So this is, I keep bins of jewelry. So here's some glass jewelry. This is like hand-blown glass. That's a snake, which is cool. And then this is like a charm, another charm. This one is a heart, kind of fun. If I'm showing anything too fast or people want to see something again, tell me because I'll show it. But here's another glass piece. Here is, I just found a fortune. Let's read what it says. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. That's a good saying, and I think a lot more people need to take that into consideration, honestly. So maybe I'll put that in my YouTube bio. And then there's just more random ones in here. Nothing that I love too much. But everyone will like these for Arizona because they definitely, I feel like, are giving Nancy Arizona vibes. Turquoise with like a ring around it. Yes, Serene, I am hungry. But again, I'm having fun, so I'll stay on for a bit longer. This is like fake David Yurman. I actually might bring this with me this weekend. I'm keeping this out. I think I might have an occasion to wear that too. I have something really exciting happening this weekend, but I don't want to say it just in case because you never know who's watching. But this is a cool one. Yeah, Serena, I'll hop off after I show you all this. I just, might as well stay on. These are just too cool. This is like a leaf that's hand-blown glass. And this one's cool, I think. It's just shiny. I don't know what they call that. Those compact mirrors, the old ones. Okay, I have one thing that I have to show because now you got me going. Okay, wait, I can't find it, but I grabbed this. I have a compact mirror somewhere. I just don't know where, like an old one. But this says, a stud in hand is worth two under the bed, which, again, I'm not really sure, but I think it means stick to the man you got. So be loyal and don't go on and cheat. There's so many people who cheat these days. Yeah, I don't know why. It's sad, but people should be more loyal, I think, and more honest. And clearly people need to stop taking women from their homes and abducting them. But I had a lot of fun with, oh wait, this one's so pretty. I'm never getting off here. This is really pretty, I think. I might bring this with me to Mexico and wear that on one of my shirts, maybe. But I had a lot of fun with everyone on here. It was a really great experience. It was a really great experience. And I'm happy to have gone live. I think it's fun also just showing off all these random things because I just have I have a collection of so many things, and it's fun to show off a little bit more of my personality and everything that I have and that I've collected. So maybe we'll do a live like that again. But I do think I want to do one more going back to the beginning live about Nancy. What happened? Where did everything start? Dom C and I are planning a live where we are going to talk about who is Nancy and try and talk more about who was she, what did she do before she was taken. Because I think it makes me sad when I'm watching videos and there's a lot of content of Nancy out there and showing off her personality, and she just seems so full of life, and it's sad to think of what happened. So Dom C and I are going to do a live to remember Nancy. And we'll be going live again. Maybe I'll show off this weekend me on Nantucket or anything. I love Dom C. Adrian, she's the best. She's so nice. And thank you, Long Drive, to say that. But I will definitely do this again. Maybe we can go through my necklaces or my other weird things that I collect. So thank you all for watching. There's still 8 of you here. You guys are real ones. I had a real lot of fun. I did. And I'm going to go eat, so I'm starving. But thank you all for watching, really. And please like the video and subscribe or share with your friends. If you rewatch, you're the best. And I don't want to end because everyone in here, even though there's only 9 of you, I swear I love all 9 of you. Thank you so much. And we will chat soon. And just thank you. I'm having so much fun doing this. So I don't care who watches just because I'm enjoying it. So bye, everyone. And I hope that you enjoyed the stream. Have a great night.